Good morning, my friends. Happy Thanksgiving. Just look at this glow from the sun this morning. The sun hasn't peeked over the mountains yet. Hasn't peeked over the horizon. And I've got the camera lighten up a little bit. The colors are much stronger than this, but I've got the camera lighten up a little bit so you can see my face a little bit. Otherwise it'd be just black. But it is just gorgeous here this morning. Not overly cold, but a little cool. We've been getting some real cold weather and frost and stuff, but gorgeous this morning. But I hope you've had a wonderful week. I hope you're going to have an incredible Thanksgiving weekend. I'm going to take in some family time down here this morning, putting in some good shop time. And I'm just so thankful for all of you guys, all that you offer my family and how you support me, how you support my business. And this year has just been incredible. I can't thank you all enough. All the people who pour into my life, who help me build on my dreams and goals, and who support me through purchasing and watching and liking, and all the clientele that show up here looking for appointments for vehicles now. And it's just so grateful this Thanksgiving. We're going to head inside right now, and I'm going to show you an incredible buck 110. We're going to head inside right now. I'm going to show you footage of an incredible buck 110 project that I finished this week. Just wild, maybe the finest buck 110s that I've ever built. Don't change, don't click to another video. You're going to want to see this. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to this video and welcome to the K&I's workshop here. We're going to be doing a buck 110 and 112 build right now we're starting on. It's going to happen fairly fast because the client wants it quickly. But bucks don't take too long as well. I've got my process pretty dialed in at this point. But this is going to be the toughest set that I've done for a couple of reasons. First off, they're going to be tough because of just how nice these knives are. And it's going to kill me to tear these apart. Are you ready to see these? Just 1 second here. The client had polished custom shop 110s sent in. I can't believe we're going to destroy these. Just look at that. Look how beautiful. Custom shop, polished, finger groove models. Just gorgeous knives to start with. Absolutely beautiful. Then of course we have the 112 Ranger. Polishing is always so smudgy, isn't it? Custom shop Ranger. Again, finger groove, matching, full polished. Oh, again, can't believe we're going to tear these up. But at this point, I've been in the game long enough that my confidence level's high, and I've done, sheesh, I don't know how many bucks I've done now, but experience level is pretty high, so it's not a big deal. It doesn't change any part of the process. It would be almost as big a deal to nick any blade or to scratch up any buck 110 blade. The polish just makes your heart feel a little bit more on edge. But wait till I show you. Wait till you see here what we're using for scales. And this is part 2 of the complexity or dauntingness, intimidation factor of this project. We're doing dyed mammoth tooth. And I've worked with mammoth tooth before, and it is not easy to work with. It's very brittle. It's very easy to chip and crumble and fracture. This, of course, has been dyed blue. Look at that. The client sent this in. I didn't pick it up. Of course, they like glaze them. You can see that glazing on them. So we'll have to get that finished back when we're done. But look at that. That is what's going on these incredible knives. Okay, step 1. I've taped up the blade in the process here. I don't want to scratch up that blade at all and make a bunch of work for myself. Step 1 is to remove the scales. And we usually have a lock bar pin to deal with right here as well. We don't have that on this one. I've never actually disassembled a custom shop model, but I'm pretty sure they're assembled just as I would do my custom shop builds. But what we need to do, these are essentially brass rivets here. So we need to grind the heads off of those. They're riveted out inside as well, but of course there's no way to get in there. So we'll grind off the heads so we can push the pins back through. That's the way we'll do this. So I use this just right on the corner of the wheel. You'll destroy the scales, but they're not going to be, there's no way to save them. Next item of business is to separate those scales, and the only way to do that is to get in there and pry them off. And the best way I found to do that is using a utility knife blade, and if you get it lined up just right on the seam, then you don't damage anything but the scale. Well, this one, the finger groove models are a little bit more tricky, but and these, I'm thinking the custom shop models are glued in place, so they could be a little more, they're definitely a little fastened a little more strongly. Yeah, they're glued in place. So we will have to grind out a lot of this material. I can see that the custom shop installs their scales just as I would. So the pin, the lock bar pin is hidden, recessed, just like I would do. And then they glue their scales in place. So I managed to get these cleaned up, guys, but these were the toughest to clean and prep bucks that I've ever done. Like I said, this is the first custom shop bucks that I've done, and well, they're constructed how I construct mine, which is everything's epoxied in, so it's difficult. Also, this pin was flared on both sides, the lock bar pin, so that had to be drilled out a couple different stages in order to not affect the brass chassis there. And it also means by the time I did that, these pins are garbage, so I've got to use some of my own pin stock here, some stainless pin stock, and craft new pins for these. So definitely a little more of an involved project if you're going to be using the custom shops to do your rebuild. Now you can see I've got them marked out here now in spaces so I can start the tang filing. So we'll pull these back out. We'll dump our torsion spring there. We'll take these in to the belt grinder. Now here are our two buck knives reassembled. You can see pins back in, flush ground, both sides. They don't need to be peened. If you have a surface over here, it can't work its way out on either side. So we don't have to worry about that. They're just in their friction fit, and there's a lot of tension on them as well. But we've got a nice simple, the client was indicated they didn't want any over-the-top intricate file work because these scales are intricate. We didn't want anything to draw away from this. So nice, simple, like a running vine work. A little more organic style. Not as what you would call a geometric design. Now is the scary part, and that is we have to get scales out of this material here. Now I think for ease of visibility, I'm going to tape the face. That way I can really nicely draw on it and mark and be precise, because that glossy finish is not ideal, and there's so much color on the face of the scale with different colors, really contrasty. It's going to be hard to see what's going on there. Now this material, guys, if you have the opportunity to work with Mammoth, it's hard and brittle. So much so that when you're cutting it and grinding it, it's not uncommon to see sparks, which of course is no concern. Any sparks like that, we don't worry about it at all. But what we are worried about is fracturing a scale, and we hope that if we do have a piece fracture out, we can find it and it's not crumbled, but it's just a broken out piece that we can glue back in. If we have the piece and it's just a nice clean chunk, we can glue it back in, but otherwise run into some problems there. Now of course the factory scales that were destroyed in disassembly, but I always keep a running bin of buck scales. Sometimes I throw them out, sometimes I keep them, but that way I can just use them because they're all identical. Here's where you got to be real careful now, guys. Finishing different materials like this, guys, takes a whole learning process. When I first started, I had certain standards in terms of a finish, and then I was working with a lot of micartas, wondering now how do I get this micarta to shine a little bit. And I will try different grades of sandpaper and higher grits, and then we moved to, well, maybe buffing is the answer. So I bought a buffer, and then you met with so many different types of wheels and everything, and you're always searching for that better finish. The better finish. What can I do? And then you find just the right compound and just the right wheel, and you're having a glorious time until you meet a piece of material that wheel and that compound doesn't work for. So then you're on the hunt for something else, and it really takes time. You've got to have some patience when you're starting out in this type of hand craftsmanship. Some patience finding out exactly what works for you and the materials you use and your processes.
But once you nail it down, you can really do some awesome stuff. It can really make your life a lot easier with the right buffer and the right compounds, the right types of sandpaper. And finally, the finished result. Look at these insanely gorgeous knives. This is the first time I've worked with dyed mammoth tooth. I've worked with mammoth tooth a number of times in the past, but never like stained. Always natural finish, like that brown, grays, like mixy caramel colors, but never this. This is just insane. So completely polished, fresh. Of course, these were brand new from factory. Look at that nice, simple file work the customer requested to not take away from the Mammoth. And of course, these are both full polish, custom shop 110s. Oh man, what treasures these are. And then of course the custom matching set, everything to just a gleaming polish. Very happy with the fit and finish on this build. That beautiful Ranger model, which is just as nice as the 110. Maybe a little nicer, makes a little better EDC size in my opinion. Notice the slight palm swell. Full custom built for this client. I hope you enjoyed this project, guys. I hope you found value in it. Hope you learned a little bit. And I hope you were entertained. Again, thanks so much for watching. So head over to my website, kylenosworthy.com, to shop for my knives. Shoot me an email. Links below for custom inquiries on builds like this. And thank you so much for watching.